Okay, now this is on live on YouTube, so we are on the go. Okay, so first of all, thank you very much, everyone, for participating in this second year of online meditation with one of the famous uh, our meditation master, well known, Venerable Bodhidhamma. So some of you already know him, and I believe you have looked at the website for his introduction too. Yeah. So I think rather than me saying anything, I will hand over to Bhante to take on. Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
very much. I'm a local hero. I never made the big time. So I shall begin. I'm on a funny screen.
You're a co-host now, so you can.
Can I be? Yeah, just a minute. Oh, view. That's it. Excuse me. It's me. I want. Ah, that's better. Right. I've got everybody on the screen now. Very good. Okay. So I should begin. Huh? Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Buddha, the Blessed Noble, and fully self-awakened one. So I'm going to begin with a little talk because it's going to lead to a practice, and then it can just flow into your normal practice of vipassana or whatever you're used to doing, and then we can end with taking refuges and precepts for those who are committed, especially. For those of you who are new, how many new people have I got? People who are completely new to Buddhism or know very little. Shake your hands or do something. Yes, do
This is
something.
my
Ah,
first
right,
time
okay.
with you. Yeah,
Huh? Oh,
I'm the first
yeah, but
time. Yeah, my name is
okay,
Puspa from Hawaii.
okay. Oh, from Hawaii. It's not. It's not the first time with me I'm looking for. It's the first time at a Buddhist practice or very little Buddhist
Oh,
practice. Yeah.
yeah,
Anyway, I'll do the explanation anyway. So, and then we'll finish with metta. Okay. So this little talk is about joy. Um, Interestingly enough, all my teachers never taught me how to develop joy. Isn't that funny? They were all Burmese monks mainly, but there was no effort to sort of make joy a specific exercise. And in fact, when I think about it, neither was compassion. It was always about metta, developing metta, developing metta. And there's a logic to that because once you develop metta, the other qualities of joy and compassion arise quite naturally. I mean, if you have a good friend and they fall into misfortune, you naturally want to help them. And if they have some good fortune, then you're happy for them. So metta is a sort of basic platform from which other virtues arise quite naturally. So maybe that's why they never taught me how to practice joy. I don't know, is it? Um, Joy is one of those the four social virtues that are put in a group: joy, compassion, metta, compassion, joy, and equanimity. And they are the qualities of relationship, right? They're the qualities of relationship. But it's not as though you can't develop other virtues illimitably. I mean, gratitude, for instance, when the Buddha gave a talk to lay people, he always began with the virtue of gratitude. So you can also develop gratitude. Any virtue can be developed illimitably, but these four are considered to be quite special, right? They form a group. And they're also known as Brahma Vihara, divine abodes. So Brahma was the creator god of the Vedic system, considered the highest of all divinities. I believe there's only one temple to Brahma in all of India. The other two are for Vishnu and Shiva. So I don't know why. Anyway, what the Buddha is saying is that these are the most beautiful mental states that you can experience. Oops, I've just messed up here. Just a minute. Here we go. Now, joy is important to balance compassion. And it's also important in this day and age, right here and now, when the world is in such a turmoil in so many places, and our own countries are under economic stress and all sorts of bad things are sort of happening, and it can make you a bit gloomy. And sometimes it's best not to listen to the news, but it's good to develop joy as a sort of counterbalance. Now, you might say to yourself, well, I don't feel much joy, you know. Well, I would say that's because you're not paying attention. If you were to wake up in the morning and say to yourself, I will note down every time I feel any sense of joy, any sense of contentment, any sense of even the slightest gentle happiness, I'll be aware of it. You might be surprised that, in fact, you feel much more joyful than you thought, because our attention isn't towards that. We're guided more towards excitement, and I'll come to that in a little minute. So it's understandable that we are more aware of threats, you know, mainly because of our development as human beings. Danger wakens us up much more than joy, you might say. But as I say, if you can make that effort in the morning to note the amount of joys, no matter how delicate it is, no matter how slight it is, you might surprise yourself. Now, because of our sort of consumer excited society, we often confuse joy with excitement. So I like to point out the difference this way. We've just passed through Christmas, and I'm sure many of you have had a Christmas cake. And it's you've got the bulk, right? You've got the bulk of the cake itself, but on the top, you have marzipan, and then you have this icing, right? Now, the marzipan at least has some goodness. It's got some almonds in it, but the icing is pure poison. I mean, it's sugar, right? And we now understand even Alzheimer's to be some sort of diabetes problem. So it's the difference between marzipan and icing, and you want to take the icing off, right? And excitement is that extra bit that we put on top of joy. You see it in little children are a bit like that. So we always want more than we're actually getting from joy, and it becomes a drug. And it's something that the consumer society and reinforces. You've only got to watch the adverts. It's always about excitement. It's always about the next thing to do, the next big experience that's going to really wipe you out. And the problem with excitement is that it creates an attachment. It's a drug. It's an addiction. You need to be excited. So the first thing is that what used to excite you over time becomes boring. And then you have to have something else that excites you. Sometimes you know it's excitement because even though you go through a period of boredom and there's a rest place, you go back to it. The other problem with excitement is that the attachment has underneath it a sense of fear of loss. So the more you're attached to, the more anxiety there is. That's why we take out insurance policies, right? I mean, when you buy a computer, for instance, or a laptop, it comes with a guarantee of 1 year. Usually, if it passes 1 year, it'll last for quite some time. But you tend to have to pay for this special extra just in case it breaks down. I had a cousin who refused to buy house insurance, and he never paid it. He never paid it, except 1 year there was a storm and his roof was damaged, and so he had to shelve out. But he said, it never came anywhere near the amount of money he saved by not paying the house insurance all those years, right? So the other thing is that when you lose something you have, you get grief. Okay, that's another problem with attachment and holding on to things. So we want to try and make that distinction, right? And it's difficult, very difficult. You can try the exercise of eating. Every time you eat, you can see that there's a joy that comes from the pleasure of eating, but then there's that little override which makes you want to eat more than you should. See, that's the telltale. Okay. So joy is, I mean, it can be developed into these absorption states like any of the other qualities, but it's a very pleasant and at times very pleasant mental state. And it always comes accompanied with calmness, with equanimity. It never demands that you keep it going. And it's always an appropriate response to a joyful situation. And there's no hankering after it when it passes. Those are your signs that this was joy. Yeah. Now, the other great thing about developing joy is that it undermines what we call its obvious enemies, which is envy and jealousy. So envy, of course, is wanting what the other person has. And jealousy is hating them for what they have and wanting what they have. I've got a definition here which really puts it down to rivalry. Often involves fear of losing something you have to a rival. So obviously that's in a relationship. If you're attracted to somebody and somebody else is attracted to them, then it can make you feel very jealous. But if you see a parent, rejoicing, some of you have children, rejoicing in their daughter or their son's success with that sort of lovely joy, that ability to resonate with the child's joy. And that's how we should be with each other. When we see somebody who's joyful, there's a sort of resonance, and because of that, that joy is squared. Now, there's a phrase in Swedish: a shared joy is a double joy, and a shared sorrow is half a sorrow. So when you share your joy, it increases it. The other thing that I came across was brain chemistry. Now, I haven't a clue about brain chemistry, right? I don't know anything about neurons or anything like that. But what I read was, and this is in very much layman's terms, is that every little cell of our body has receptors for these hormones. So there are those hormones which help our mood, like dopamine comes as motivation and reward. Serotonin is a mood stabilizer, makes you feel good. And endorphins, of course, give you that sense of euphoria. Now, if we keep our attention on how bad we feel, how depressed we feel, how angry we feel, how upset we feel, the receptors on the cells, should we say, develop towards those types of chemicals, and it reduces the amount of receptors that we have for these that make the body feel good, right? And therefore, somebody who is deeply depressed, even when they feel joyful, the body isn't resonating that joy back to them. So developing joy has a direct effect upon the body. Now, remember, in Buddhist understanding, in Buddhist teaching, the body and mind are two different systems. They're not the same, but they are completely intermeshed, and the one affects the other, right? For those of you who know, it's nama rupa, right? Body, mind. And so if our mental states affect the body itself, well, we know that, don't we? Because when you feel angry, the body feels hot and it's agitated. And when you feel joyful, there's a lovely, this is the right type of joy. There's a lovely feeling of well-being. So it's important from the body's point of view that you develop joy. For those of you who are open to the possibility of rebirth, then of course developing joy as a mental state will have an effect on your next birth. In fact, it says one who develops the liberation of mind from the defilements by sympathetic joy is reborn in a happy destination. So that's from the Anguttara Nikaya, for those of you who want to know. Okay, so that in a sense is a sort of just a resume of the importance of developing joy. So how do we develop it? Well, you won't be surprised. You develop it just like you do with metta. It's good to begin by bringing somebody to mind who raises natural joy within you, somebody who makes you feel good within yourself, somebody who makes you laugh. You know, you might think of an incident where you've enjoyed something with somebody. It might be walking in nature with them, visiting a zoo, just being with a friend. It could be anything. And you use that as a sort of touchstone. So you keep going back to it to refresh the heart, to make it feel that sense of joy. And it's good to, with all these practices, metta as well, to have a smile on your face. Now, it doesn't have to be a sort of great.
Meditation live.
Huh? So it, I don't know what that was. So it, I think Satish, you need to put your microphone off. There's a few of you who haven't got your microphones off, so that the noise comes through. So it doesn't have to be a big Richter smile, you know. It can just be a little feeling on the lips of a sense of joy within the heart. So those two things, if you can develop that, you'll find that the heart responds, right? But remember that just making these good wishes to somebody, may you be joyful, may you be ever more joyful, and if you wish, may you experience the sublime happiness of Nibbana. By making those good wishes towards somebody, you're developing that habit, you're developing that sankhara, you're developing that volitional conditioning. And that grows obviously the more that you develop it. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to bring an occasion to mind or a person to mind that raises a sense of joy. Remember, it's a quiet joy, right? We're not jumping up and down. And then from that, we'll just go through the normal process that we do with metta, first individually, and then more generally, and then finally to all beings in all directions. When we come to the end of that, I'll just say, either carry on developing that joy in the same way, or go back to your ordinary meditation, whatever that might be. And then round about 10 to, I'll begin taking refuges and precepts, and then the metta practice, and then we'll draw it to a close. Okay, everybody ready? Thank you very much. Very good. So make sure you're comfortable. That's important. And feel free to move your posture. So you don't want to feel pain or discomfort, because that can be an interruption to the practice. So just make sure that you're sitting with energy, right? Don't slump. I just send you to sleep, you know. There has to be a bit of energy in the spine. And just draw yourself into a quiet place. Normally, people do it with the breath, just allowing that those neutral sensations to bring silence to the mind, calmness to the heart, and stillness to the body. So we begin by bringing somebody to mind. Also, people's pets, make them happy, a chirpy little dog or something. Bringing that person or a pet to mind that makes you feel happy. And again, you're feeling that smile on your face. And you can offer them these blessings. May you be joyful. May you be ever more joyful. May you experience the sublime happiness of Nibbana. We can bring to mind a benefactor, someone who's helped us in our lives. May you be joyful. May you be ever more joyful. May you experience the sublime happiness of Nibbana. We can bring to mind those who are near and dear to us. We can bring to mind friends, workmates, anyone we wish. We can bring to mind a neutral person. So this is someone you see, a neighbor perhaps, but you don't know them. Turning now that stream of joy towards ourselves. Sometimes it helps to put your hand on your heart and speak into your heart. Actually direct your attention into your heart. And I hope you've still got that smile on your face. We can now radiate it outwards, first of all to each other, our present spiritual companion. May we be joyful. We can now radiate it outwards to all our neighbors and neighborhood. And then to all the people in our country. And then outward to all the people in our hemisphere or wherever you are. Here it would be Europe, the Americas. And then to all people on earth. And now we can radiate it outwards to all beings. And we'll do it in the 6 directions. So into that infinite space, just fill it up with your joy. All beings before us. May you be joyful. May you be ever more joyful. May you experience the sublime happiness of Nibbana. And to all beings behind us, all beings to our left, All beings to our right. All beings below us. All beings above us. And finally, to all beings in all directions. So if you wish, you can continue with this or just settle back into your normal vipassana or samatha meditation. So we can take refuges and precepts. For those of you who haven't done so or are not sure what this might mean, we start by honoring the Buddha, the Blessed One. So Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. And then we place our trust in the Buddha, this person who lived 2,500 years ago and whose teaching still affects us. But his life is an example to us. He's an exemplar. So reading about him and finding out about how he dealt with certain difficult situations. His cousin Devadatta revolted against him and even tried to kill him, it seemed. So he didn't get a free ride just because he was fully liberated. And the Dharma is the teaching, both the understanding that he's left us, but also these various practices. And the Sangha refers to all the people, even today, who attain deep spiritual attainments and even become fully liberated, even today. And the precepts are very straightforward: not to kill any living being. And that leads us to protect them, not to take what is not freely given. That leads us to a respect for other people's property. Not to indulge in sexual behavior, not to misuse it. That's what it should be, really. Yeah, be careful with that. But this word kama also means any sensual pleasure, actually, but it's normally centered upon our sexual activity. And then right speech, not to use wrong speech, which is abusive, or lying or over exaggeration and all that sort of stuff. But it must be moving us towards kindly, gentle, truthful, beneficial, and speech that is given at the right time. And then finally, not to take anything which is going to undermine our sense of bright awareness, right? Drugs, drinks, etc., etc. So what I'll do is I'll chant and then you can repeat it after me. That helps people who haven't done this before. So first of all, we bow, Buddham Pujami, which just means I bow to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Yeah? Buddham Pujami. Dhammam Pujami. Sangham Pujami. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Bodhang saranang gacchami.
Buddham Sharanam
Saranam gacchami.
Dhammam saranang gacchami.
Dhammam saranam gacchami.
Sangham saranang gacchami.
Sangham saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi Buddham saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi Buddham
Buddham
Sharanam
saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi sangham saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi sangham saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi bodham saranam gacchami.
Buddham Sharanam Gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammam tatiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi
Dhammam
saranam
Sharanam
gacchami.
Gacchami.
Tatiyampi sangham saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi sangham saranam gacchami.
Panati pata veramani sikapadang samadhiyami.
Panati pata Vairamani Shikhapadam Samadhiyami.
Adina dana veramani
Veramani
sikapadang
sangham
samadhiyami.
Adinadana Vairamani Shikhapadam
samadhiyam.
Samadhiyami.
Kame sumi chachara veramani sikapadang samadhiyami.
Kameshu Michachara Vairamani Shikhapadam Samadhiyami.
Musawada veramani sikapadang samadhiyami.
Mushabada Vairamani Shikhapadam Samadhiyami.
Sura Maraya Majjapamadhatana veramani sikapadang samadhiyami.
Shura Meraya Majjapamada Thana Vairamani Shikhapadam Samadhiyami.
Tisaranena saha panchasilan sadhu kankatva appamadena sampadeta. Having taken the refuges and precepts, quoting the final words of the Buddha, strive diligently for your liberation. So we can draw our evening to a close with just a little practice of metta. So just repeating these phrases to ourselves. May I be free of greed and selfishness.
May I be and selfishness.
Well, you don't have to say it out loud. Just say it to yourselves. May I be free of anger and ill will. May I be free of fear and anxiety. May I be free of ignorance and delusion. May I be kind and gentle, sympathetic and benevolent. May I be forgiving and compassionate. May I be joyful and rejoice in the success of others. May I be peace-loving and calm. May I be liberated of all my sufferings. May I experience the sublime happiness of Nibbana. And radiating that goodwill to all beings in all directions. May all beings be free of greed and selfishness. May all beings be free of anger and ill will. May all beings be free of fear and anxiety. May all beings be free of ignorance and delusion. May all beings be kind and gentle, sympathetic and benevolent. May all beings be forgiving and compassionate. May all beings be joyful and rejoice in the success of others. May all beings be peace-loving and calm. May all beings be liberated of all their sufferings. May all beings experience the sublime happiness of Nibbana. And we can end our practice with that little chant, which means may all beings be happy. Sabe sata sukhita hantu 3 times. And then sadhu, well done, 3 times. Sabe sata sukhita hantu. Sabe sata sukhita hantu. Sabe sata sukhita hantu. Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu,
sadhu.
sadhu. Thank you, Bhante.
I must remember next time to get you all to take your microphones off.
Thank you very much,
So,
Bhante.
so
Thank you,
I've got,
Bhante.
thank you. I've got these 8 sessions. I've got these 8 sessions, and I haven't a clue what they're going to be. So I'm expecting you to email Ajahn or directly to me and tell me what you'd like me to tackle.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Very much.
or else I'll just be sitting here looking at myself.
I see
Thank you
now.
very much, Bhante, for this wonderful session. And thank you everyone for sparing this time to come and meditate. So I hope that you will continue, and we'll have some questions to ask, or any topics that you want Bhante to elaborate on. So you can email it to me. And until then, see you next time. Oh, thank you very
Peace
much.
and joy.
Have a-
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank
Thank
you.
Toodaloo.
you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Bhante.